Welcome to the Seattle Investors Club podcast with Julie Clark and Joe Bauer, where we share the nuts and bolts of real estate investing from our 20-plus years in the industry. Sit back, relax, listen, and immediately take action. Are you ready? Here we go.
Welcome to the Seattle Investors Club podcast, where we talk about the nuts and bolts of real estate investing. My name is Joe Bauer, and I'm here with my co-host, Julie Clark. Julie, how you doing today?
All good in the hood, Joe. I'm all hopped up on a little amoxicillin, like I just told you, a little toothache. So if I sound a little crazy or say anything weird today, which I definitely will, we can blame it on that. How about that?
Deal. Let's do it. Let's say some weird stuff.
Let's do it. Well, we're going to talk about a weird topic today. Actually, not really, but people think it's weird a little bit. I'll save that for a minute. Other than feeling weird, last night I was watching the news about all these crazy tornadoes, and I was thinking, I wonder where Joe is. Hope he's not getting blown around over in that van. So what's going down? Where are you at? I assume you're safe and sound since we're talking.
Yeah, it's not too windy here. We're in Alpine, Texas, which is actually outside of the Big Bend National Park, and we haven't had the wind, but something totally crazy is that we were out hiking around in the park yesterday and it was 90 degrees.
Oh my God.
Beautiful, right? Like perfect day, no humidity, 90 degrees. And then last night it got down to, I think, 23.
Gee.
When I woke up to head into the coffee shop this morning, it was 27 and snowing.
What?
And right now, I'm not sure. It's probably low 40s. So it's like we had this cold just front roll in and everybody's freezing around here.
Well, that is, you guys don't ever watch TV, I'm sure, but there is like a major cold thing going down across the east. I didn't think it was reaching down to Texas, but I'm sure it's related to all of that. So bundle up and be safe, Joe.
It is nuts. Very nuts.
But what's next?
What's
next after Big Bend?
Then we head up north and to El Paso, and I hop on a plane and come hang out with you. But I do have to say though, Big Bend, wow, amazing, really, really amazing. We went on a overnight canoe trip up this canyon. And I'll post all the pictures so that everybody can see them in the next few days. But unbelievable, like 150-foot walls, I think, canyon walls on the Rio Grande. And then we did 3 different hikes, and they were all just like super awesome. Like one was this big, crazy rim hike that was way up in the air at like 7,000 plus feet. And then we did this slot canyon hike that was down an old riverbed. It was really cool. I was incredibly impressed. And we're like in Big Bend's like the middle of nowhere. Like we were in Mexico for a little bit when we had to like hop out of the canoe and take a pee or something.
Oh yeah.
One side was the US, the other side was Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good thing I didn't catch up on the news with like some crazy thing, border stuff, run into Trump out there building a wall. Right?
I know that was the joke. It was like, so this is where the wall is supposed to be, and we're looking up at this 150 foot, rock wall. It was nuts.
That's crazy, man. Well, I'm glad you're safe and sound. Us here in Seattle, also safe and sound, and cooking along. Kicking off into this first quarter, things seem to be picking up. Interest rates are still nice and low, so. We were just talking about getting a report on the first quarter that we're going to book our podcast guests here out for later in April to give us like the details of how the market's going. But so far, so good, I think. A little better than everybody was fearful about, but still we'll see what happens. So today, first of all, let's announce what's going on. You guys. What is it? Today is what day? Well, you guys are listening to this on what, a Thursday or a Friday?
Yep.
And Saturday, March 9th, super important, guys, if you guys are all listening, we are having our quarterly event that you are all invited to, free, of course, for Seattle Investors Club members. only $35 to change your life if you're a non-member, to come to our event on Saturday, March 9th. It is from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Renton at the Renton Technical College. And we are having the highly coveted guest. Our guest, the attorney Jeff Watson, is going to be with us for an entire afternoon on March 9th, guys. The topic being how to invest tax-free with self-directed IRA investing. And if you think that you've been to an event where that's been covered before, this is going to be something that is a little more detailed and a whole different twist probably than what you've heard from the traditional just straight up trust companies that are telling you how it works. I highly recommend that you guys show up, because not only is Jeff Watson an expert in how to invest and grow your money tax free, he is also the recognized national authority on legal wholesaling and co-wholesaling. And we are going to be touching on that subject as well with Jeff at that event. This is, if you don't know who Jeff Watson is, just Google Jeff Watson. If you've ever heard of John Cochran and the King of Systems, those guys are partners. You can check out more about Jeff at watsoninvested.com. But this is going to be the major event of the quarter. We know we have Tarl's event, the big, Big Badass Real Estate Expo, coming up towards the end of April. But for March, this is going to be a great event for you guys all to attend. Again, one of the things I'll say about that is that all the big players that I know and all the big players we get to interview and talk to with our platform here of Seattle Investors Club, one of the common themes I hear, the last things people figure out is their tax stuff, right? And so you guys are going to be way ahead of the game if you understand that stuff now and get in the know. Knowledge is power on how you can take advantage, or maybe something you don't have for yourself right now, you're going to learn that you didn't know you can have by attending this event. So we hope to see you there. We're going to provide you guys with lunch. You can come as long as you want or leave in the middle, do whatever you want. But I highly recommend that you show up and get this information firsthand, because there's going to be so much information. It's going to be hard to cover it back again. So be there or be square. And Joe's going to be in town, and that's going to be fun. So other than that, we're going to talk about a subject today that keeps popping up. You see it around some of the chat threads on Facebook, and obviously people are asking me about it all the time. I'll just say one other thing, guys. I want to remind you guys that every Tuesday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., you can join me in Burien at the Elliott Bay Brewhouse and Pub, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Every Tuesday, we have a private room at that place there, and we have free coaching going on. So whether you're new or you've got some experience or you've got a deal that's in trouble or anything you need, you just come, show up, and you're going to have a group of people there that are going to be there to focus on you and get your questions answered. It's also a great place to network in a tight community, rather than, it's all great. We love all the big meetups around town every month, but this is a different format that is much more intimate, and I highly recommend that you come check it out at least once. Free for Seattle Investors Club members, and you can come 2 times for free if you're not a member. So give it a try, and I'll see you there. I'll be there every Tuesday, and we also might have a Thursday one. I'm trying to decide whether we're going to do that or not, but we'll focus on Tuesdays from 12 to 2 in Burien. For now, check it out. It's all the information is on meetups.com. Just look for Seattle Investors Club on meetups.com, and you will get all the info there, or email me at julie@seattleinvestorsclub.com. All right, enough of the administrative biz, and on to another topic today, which you guys are stuck listening to me today. And I'm on the verge of a cold, so hopefully I don't sound too weird, but we are filling our pipeline of podcast guests. We do 4 a month. So, sometimes it's hard to get every single spot filled with new people all the time. But we do have the next several weeks in a row booked. So we'll be back to business then. Now you're stuck with me. So today what we're going to do is talk a little bit about license or no license. Should I get my license? Should I not? So I'm going to do a semi deep dive on that today with the opportunity to learn more from me on this topic. And we'll talk about that at the end as well. But we're going to talk about, should I get a license or should I not? It's a topic that comes up on a regular basis. Sometimes it's a more heated discussion than others, but we're going to go over just a few basics today because I'm doing the talking, you're stuck with my point of view. And then you guys can decide for yourself whether that's something you think you should pursue or find value in and all that stuff. So here we go. So in a nutshell, I'm just going to give you a little bit of the details about how to get your license, first of all. To get your license in the state of Washington, that is, you need to be at least 18 years old. You need to have a high school diploma or equivalent, and you need to successfully complete 90 hours of approved real estate education. And that education is 60 hours of real estate fundamentals and 30 hours of real estate practices. And then you have to pass a state licensing exam. So that's 90 hours of coursework. That sounds like a lot, but frankly, it's very easy to do through places like Rockwell International. That's where I do mine. I do it because it's easy, it's user-friendly. Is it the cheapest? It might not be the cheapest. You guys can all look on the real estate threads out there on Facebook to find out who's the cheapest. But they do have, or they say they have, the highest pass rate as compared to all other real estate licensed schools in the area, which is 80%. So super easy to use, whether you save $100 here or there. If you want to drill down on that, go for it. So the cost of that, just getting some of the admin notes out of the way for you guys. At Rockwell, it's $489 for basically the standard package that'll get you through the course. Plus, it's another $138.25 for the exam, which is valid. Your results are for 12 months. Okay, then you've got that. Then you got to join your local MLS or join a brokerage firm who's ideally a member of the MLS. And there is a semi-annual fee to be a member of the MLS, which I believe is $240 that they collect in like May and November. Let me see. I think there is a biannual license renewal or something like that for about $146. So again, you add all that up, guys, compared to the money that you're spending as a real estate investor on going to conferences, going to, buying educational courses and all that stuff. Not expensive to get your real estate license. So I don't really think that's the reason why people do or don't get a real estate license is because of the cost. Because if you can't spend, less than $1,000 to do that, then you're probably not, spending a lot of money on marketing and all that other stuff too. I don't know. That's just my opinion. So a very small amount of money that gives you a license to make a whole bunch of money that you wouldn't be able to make otherwise. So you can already see where I'm leaning towards in this conversation. And then once you have your real estate license, you need to renew it. When you initially get your license, you have to renew it the following year. And then once you've done that one time, then you renew it every 2 years after that. And that does require some continuing education. Again, this is online and it says 90 hours, for those first, it doesn't take that long. Trust me, it does not take that long. If you need that much time, no big deal. It really goes by fast. It's a very easy, simple, user-friendly online program to use. You can probably find some in-person classes, but most people, I think, these days do the online. But the requirements for licensing renewal if you have never had a license before, you have to complete basically another 90 hours, 30 plus 30 plus 30, right? Another 90 hours your first year. And then after that, it is only a 30-hour course plus a 3-hour core curriculum course. So I guess that's 33 hours. And that's it, really. And if there's lots of continuing education courses you can take of whatever interests you during the year. If you've taken more than 30 hours during a renewal period, up to 15 of those hours, any excess hours can be carried forward to the next 2-year renewal period, right? So there you go. That's the basics on that. So as you can see, super expensive to get and maintain basically your license. The real cost actually comes in, if we're going to talk about expenses or the cost of having a license first, comes in on when you decide where to hang your license. And those costs associated with that are transaction fees and splits with your broker. So I believe, now I could be wrong, but in general, even if you were at 100% commission, meaning you have no splits, and there are firms out there where you can get that, you're still going to have a transaction fee for every deal that you close, right? So you could have that. Whether or not you're just virtual and you have no office space, that's one thing. You could have, if you want to have an office space or space within the firm somewhere, so you have a desk to go to, that could be another fee. And then just a general split with your brokerage firm is potential another fee. There are so many brokerages out there these days, and it's all getting digital, it's all getting tech, that it is becoming less and less expensive to go to a firm where you can get a lot of training with not a lot of high fees, considering the amount of money that's available that you can make that you couldn't otherwise make without a license. So, maybe a typical example might be that when you have a split, it might be anywhere from 20 to 50% of your commission. So you make a $10,000 commission, you'd pay a 20 to 50%. I don't know anybody that does that really, but I know it's out there somewhere. But for example, myself, I've paid a 20% split, but it caps at like $15,000. So I pay 20% off every one of my commissions until I have paid the brokerage firm, we'll say $15,000. I think you can get that deal out there these days. There's all kinds of deals out there. If you guys want to know, I'm not going to deep dive into where to go and what, but if you want to come to one of the meetups on a Tuesday from 12 to 2 in Burien, we can talk a lot more about that in person. But that means, like I said, it's costing you $15,000 a year plus transaction fees going forward after that. You get 100% of your commission. You pay maybe a $500 to $750 transaction fee or something like that. Not a lot, right? So, let's put it in basic terms. If you could make $10,000, would you be willing to pay, $750 or even $2,000 to keep $8,000? Obviously you're coming out ahead, right? It's just a tool that makes it easy to make extra money. That's just, we're talking about numbers there, costs and expenses, and so forth like that. So to me, it's a no-brainer. But for you guys, I think you guys all realize that having your license allows you to make extra money, and you're going to come out ahead even after all the fees or things like that, which aren't that high. But the real issue comes down to, I think people are like, well, the rules, my hands are tied. I'm going to have more rules on me. It's going to handcuff me. I'm an investor. Sellers don't like to talk to agents, and I call them some valid points and really probably more myths. For example, a wholesaler might say, well, wait a minute, Julie, I'm a wholesaler and I can make that $10,000 without paying any fees or splits. Well, heck yeah, you sure can. Absolutely. But, my opinion on that, or my position, everybody's entitled to their own, is that if you're a wholesaler, I assume that means that you're marketing for leads. And considering, at least in the Seattle area, and I think across the country, it's not that different, that wholesale opportunities are about 2 to 5% of, the market, meaning there is way more deals or more opportunities out there to make money off non-wholesale type, traditional real estate deals than there are off, the opportunity to find those motivated sellers, unless you are a super ninja with a super awesome list that, you are so highly targeted that, even half or 20, whatever the number is, any percentage higher than what I'm talking about, you're having great success at having motivated sellers say yes to you, A, finding them, and B, having them say yes to you.
Hey guys, Joe here. I just want to take this super quick break from the action to let you know something that we have really cool to offer you guys. As you know, marketing is the lifeblood of our real estate business, and Julie and I spend a ton of money sending out postcards and letters to people all around the Seattle area. We've partnered up with YellowLetters.com to get you guys 10% off all of your marketing needs at Yellow Letters. All you have to do is go to YellowLetters.com, and when you check out, use the code Seattle Investors Club, and you'll get 10% off any of your marketing needs at YellowLetters.com. You can send postcards, letters, whatever it may be that YellowLetters.com has, so that you can keep your marketing engine running for a little less money. So go to YellowLetters.com, use the code Seattle Investors Club with no spaces, and get your marketing going today. All right, let's get back to the action.
I think for the average person, or, if you're a super ninja, call me because we want to interview you for this podcast. If that's you, Julie at Seattle Investors Club, I'll buy you lunch at Bongo's. Let's go talk. But the majority of people are going to have an experience where the majority of leads they come across are not going to fit for a wholesale deal. And if you're spending money, and let's just say if you're spending a lot of time, because time is money, right? Time is actually can be even more valuable than money. You're going to want to be able to take advantage of every lead, to try and make money or to convert off every lead. And without a real estate license, it gets really hard to do that. And I'm in the I want to sleep at night club. So if I know that I can play by the rules, I just want somebody to tell me what those rules are so I can play by those rules, right? I don't need to, get every single deal or do everything right. I want to do everything right. I'm actually more into doing things right. So that's just me. You guys can all decide for yourselves. But the bottom line point I'm trying to make is that if you're spending money as an investor on marketing, then it makes absolute sense to get a real estate license. So you should convert some of those deals into dollars in your pocket. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that you have to act like a broker? No, you simply can refer those to another broker, because I will tell you one thing that does not work from my years and years and years of experience of doing this. And again, if you think I'm wrong, then I want to hear from you, and we'll put you on this podcast to hear how you're doing it. But a wholesaler saying, sorry, that deal's not right for me, Mr. Seller, but I have a wonderful agent that I can refer you to, and trying to make that transition does not work. If you are out there and it's working for you, please contact me, because I need you to give me a lesson. But my experience is that doesn't work. Why? Because the rapport is not built with some random third person agent, when the wholesaler's in there developing that relationship. It's a very hard transition, and my experience is it doesn't work. But what does work, I can tell you from experience, because that's how I roll 100% of the time, is being able to convert a non-wholesale deal, I'll say, into a listing or an opportunity to make money. And guess what? A commission, a referral fee versus a wholesale fee, they're taxed exactly the same way. I don't care whether I make $10,000 on a wholesale fee or $10,000 on a commission, just picking numbers. It's the same to me. And frankly, it can be the same amount of work. Wholesale deals are not easy. They take a lot of work, and a lot of squirming around to get those done at times. So I think everybody says wholesale deals are, you tee them up, you got your buyers list and it's done. And, if you're new out there, it's just not quite that easy. So having a license is beneficial, again, for those reasons. Again, I can't imagine that people are not getting a license because of anything to do with fees or costs. I think it has to do with, I think some of the big investors out there who are getting deals from wholesalers all the time are like, well, I don't need to get a license because wholesalers bring me deals constantly. People are bringing me deals constantly. If you're one of those people, then you're right. Maybe you don't need to get a license, but I don't think the majority of people are in that boat, right? But I will say to the people that are getting deals from wholesalers all the time, that, just happened, we just had a market correction, right? Wouldn't it have been nice if on those deals that you were getting a spanking on recently, which I don't know anybody who didn't, who bought a deal in the first half of 2018 that wasn't impacted by the market adjustment that we just had for the second half of 2018. Just think that if you had a license and you were able to, list your own property for sale, which is totally allowed, it's allowed if your broker says so. You just got to make sure you're right at the right brokerage firm. That that would have helped impact or mitigate your downside on those deals. It's like an insurance card. So just you could use it when you need it. I think there's a myth out there that if you get your real estate license, you have to, go to broker meetings, go to office meetings and sales meetings, be accountable for your time. You have to do open houses and list properties for sale. You don't have to do any of that, guys. You can just have a license in your pocket, as long as you're paying the low fees, right? You don't have to do those things. I think it's a myth that people think they need to do that. It might depend. You might choose your brokerage firm a little bit different if you were, not going to be an active broker, but that's fine too, right? The point is, I like to think of it like a Costco card. If you wanted to go, you needed inventory for your business, right? You're not going to call up which we all need inventory for our business, right? We need real estate to buy. Real estate is just the product of our business. If you had some other type of business and you needed inventory, right? And that inventory could be found at Costco, for example. You're not going to call up your friend and say, hey, hey, Joe, can I borrow your Costco card so I can go, get the inventory at a good price for my business? I mean, if you are actively buying real estate, maybe if you're not buying a deal or two here every year, but if you are actively buying real estate, why would you, not get the discount card, which is basically getting your license and gives you the right to collect a commission when you buy? I mean, that might pay for, who knows, that, a good chunk of that pays for a new roof. Who knows what it pays for on your deals? I also look at it as an insurance card, just to put it in basic terms, right? When things get a little crazy, you can use your insurance card, your license, to help mitigate some of your costs, which is commissions in this case, right? Collecting referral fees, all that kind of stuff. So that's it in the bottom line right there. But now what we're going to get down to is, I think you guys know how I all feel about that. I think the truth is, where people hesitate is the mystery about the rules. The rules, my hands are tied as an agent. I have to disclose more. I have bigger responsibilities. I'm going to get, in trouble for wholesaling, all those types of things. Well, I'm here to tell you the truth about the mystery of those rules. And the first thing that I'll tell you is that the punishment for breaking the rules is much, much worse for a wholesaler, an unlicensed wholesaler, than it is for a realtor who crosses the line or breaks some rules. In general, I mean, if you are a slimy realtor and you're stealing people's money, then, you will get what's coming to you. But I think there's a myth that your hands are tied as a real estate agent, when I actually see it as the opposite. Your hands are tied if you're a wholesaler. because of you could potentially get accused of acting like a broker when you're not one, and the punishment and fines and things related to that come down from the State Real Estate Commission are much more severe than punishment from the MLS for pre-marketing a listing or breaking some MLS member rule. So as a real estate agent, you're breaking MLS rules usually when you're doing marketing wrong or things like that. Could you get in much more trouble if you're dishonest and slimy? Yes, you can. But in general, I think one of the exposures on the difference is wholesalers acting like a broker when they're not one. And this is rampant, guys. And we only have to refer you back to one of our most recent podcasts with Mr. Jeff Watson, who's coming to town this weekend, who you're not going to want to miss. We're going to talk about this stuff in person a little bit more with Jeff after we talk about some, self-directed IRA investing. But that's podcast number 63. If you want to get a little taste of who Jeff Watson is, go listen after this to podcast number 63, and you'll see who I'm talking about, the big guns that we have coming to town this weekend. But what I'm going to do here is just cover a little bit of, we're not going to go on and on about this today because we're just filling a gap in our schedule, but the rules are more like this. You definitely, if you get a license, have to tell your broker that you're wholesaling. Wholesaling is not illegal, okay? So you just have to find and work with a brokerage firm that understands what wholesaling is. A lot of the big firms, big name firms, they don't like it or they're not going to understand it. But I do know wholesalers that are at Keller Williams, right? I know wholesalers that are everywhere. Just because you have to tell somebody what you're doing doesn't mean that's a bad thing. But you do need to tell your broker because they're responsible for you that you're doing wholesales or doing your own investing. And then that's a conversation that you have between you and them on how do they want to look at all your contracts? Do they are going to let you collect and keep your wholesale fees since you're not really selling real estate? You're selling a contract position. That's a conversation that you have directly with your broker. Again, if you want to come talk to me in person on a Tuesday from 12 to 2 in Burien, we can deep dive down into that a bit more. Come talk to me. Obviously, you have to disclose that you have a real estate license when you're talking to sellers. I do it all the time, every day. And let me tell you what, it's no big deal. In fact, I'll say it works to my advantage. It works to my advantage because it's all in how you present yourself when you're talking to sellers. You have to disclose your firm name and so forth in your marketing. So any web or print or any type of marketing that you do online, you got to disclose your firm name and that you have a real estate license. Again, no big deal. My experience in doing this for years and years and years is if people want to sell their house, motivated sellers, they're going to call. Okay. The difference is not whether you're a real estate agent or not, it's how good your follow-up is. That's the key. Your follow-up. The old FU is the key to success. Not, you're not getting deals because you're not following up. It has nothing to do with whether you're a real estate agent or not. It has to do all in your follow-up and obviously the type of list that you're mailing to. Now, as an agent, you have to report all your unlisted sales to the MLS. I do it. I've done it many, many times. It's no big deal. I think, over the years, the MLS has realized that it's going to happen whether they like it or not. And so they've made a pathway for agents to, licensed people to report off-market sales. Now, the debate comes down to, well, if you're wholesaling and you wholesale your contract position, right, and you're not a party as a buyer or a seller because you've just basically sold a contract position, was that considered something that you need to report? Again, that's a discussion that you can have directly with your broker. It's not a scary discussion, right? There's, like I said, plenty of brokerage firms out there that have plenty of wholesalers and people that wholesale at those firms. So these are just some things that we're talking about. Again, to be honest with you, sometimes I just, instead of wholesale, I just broker. Again, it's the same fee. right? And the buyer pays me just as a wholesaler would. If I feel the situation is better to be brokered than wholesaled, then I just broker it. Same buyer's list, same steps, same process, same going through escrow. It comes out all the same. So, almost, it's easy to not have to wholesale when you have a broker's license, yet still accomplish the same results, if you ask me. One of the hot topics around having a license or not is, if you're a member of the Northwest MLS, you're not allowed to pre-market a property for sale, or you're breaking MLS rules. And it's not that the MLS rules and getting a notice from the MLS that you've got a complaint or you did something wrong is necessarily that big a deal. If you're honest and you talk about it, even the fines are not that big of a deal. What is a big deal, though, is that the fine is actually to your brokerage firm, not to you. And your brokerage firm just passes it down to you. And if you were to get a bunch of each ding or complaint or rule broken that firm has can accumulate to be a problem for them. That's why it's a problem, not because the fines and everything is so severe for your own punishment. I can assure you that a wholesaler, like I said, being accused of acting like a broker when they don't have a license is 1,000 times financially worse. That's coming straight from the Straight Real Estate Commission on that kind of thing. So again, go back to podcast number 63 and get all the details, or come see us this weekend. Hopefully we're going to see you on Saturday from 10 to 3, or show up whenever you can. And we can talk more about that as well. But that's kind of it, is pre-marketing a property. On wholesaling, you're selling a contract again. Remember, you're not supposed to be publishing an address, photos, and stuff like that. So I think there's a solid argument that you can share with your private buyer's list information that you have a contract for sale if you do it correctly, right? So that doesn't mean posting it, you need to know how to do it correctly. You use your private buyer's life if you have a license or what. That's my opinion. Anybody who wants to talk more shop about that with me, come do so. But most people screw it up in the way that they market and try and find buyers for their deal. The number one problem that people have, both as agents and non-agents, is how they, once they get a deal, how they market it to get it sold. That's where really all the rules are broken. And so you guys, I'm a little slow today trying to come up with a topic here, but in a nutshell, those are the rules. If you know the rules, they're all workable. Really, the rules are mainly about marketing, where people are going to get in trouble. And it's all about how you present yourself as an agent in regards to, whether you're going to have success with the sellers or not. And I'm happy for you guys, again, like I say, to come visit me on a Tuesday and go into detail with you guys on that a little bit more. But other than that, I don't know that I have much more to say, because I'm just trying to fill some time today. What do you think, Joe?
I think that was good. I think it was really good. I think that people need to know this, and, we talk about it a lot, but it's great information.
Yeah. And I'm, trying to get into more deep dive on this subject matter. There is some details on it. If you guys are interested, here's what I'll say. How about we do this, since, I'm not really prepared to do a massive deep dive to this on today. So I'm going to say for the first 10 people that email me at julie@seattleinvestorsclub.com and say, I'm in, just put that in the subject line. I will sit and do a private class with you guys, essentially, and do a deep dive into this subject matter. If anybody wants to know how to wear both hats and operate as a broker and as an investor seamlessly and by the rules, we can hash it all out in person. And I'm just going on the fly here. So the first 10 people that contact me at julie@seattleinvestorsclub.com we'll do a little test session together. How about that? And we will see what we can accomplish together. And if you guys like it, maybe I'll roll that out into a bigger coaching platform for everybody. How about that, Joe?
Dang.
Yeah. So that's free, by the way, what I'm talking about. I'm not asking anybody to pay me for this. Just doing it for my peeps because I love you guys. There's a lot more to talk about. But I definitely think in a nutshell that it is worth it to get your license if you are spending money on marketing, if you are trying to do a bunch of deals every year just because it's a discount card, an insurance card. It's easy to get. It's easy to keep. It's not expensive to get. It's not expensive to keep. Plenty of brokerage firms are welcoming investors these days. And there's really just a handful of rules and maybe finessing the way you speak to sellers. It's all honest. It actually feels better. I'll tell you the wholesalers that won't be able to do this, just as I wrap it up here. If you are a wholesaler and you are walking into deals, because there are a lot of wholesalers out there, and of course I can imagine that's your goal, is to try and get like a wholesale fee of $40,000, something like that, $40,000. If that is your MO, and those are the type of deals that you pursue and go after, then getting a license is not going to work for you necessarily, because there's no way that you're going to walk in and lowball somebody that low and then turn around and say, oh, that's not working for you. Well, no problem. Let me list that for you. I can do that for $50,000 higher. That conversation is difficult to have. So I guess the straight answer is that it's possible that your wholesale fees might be a little bit lower on, we'll say, traditional flips. Land deals, anything goes. Those spreads can be a lot higher. But if you understand what I'm talking about volume versus big home runs. If you are out there getting $30,000, $40,000 per deal on your wholesale fees, I guess good for you. That's, I think, not how I roll. I'm not here to judge anybody on that. But there's then a question of whether, then you might have a problem with your fiduciary or doing the best thing in the right for the seller, as an agent should do. But if you're able to make a $10,000 or $15,000, maybe even it could be more wholesale fee as an agent investor, that I will teach you how to do legitimately. That spread is something that is legitimate. I'll run through all the numbers with how that works. And, the goal, just to say it again, is to always be on the up and up. And when there's motivated sellers, there's a lot of factors involved. So, here at Seattle Investors Club, we're not out, taking houses from old ladies, as I say. Not saying that anybody out there is doing it. I'm just saying that if your MO is to go for, $25,000 to $35,000, $40,000 wholesale fees on a regular basis, that it's going to be harder for you to operate as both a broker and an investor. However, you're going to make that up a lot faster, that you're going to make it in a different way. And that's by doing more deals, in my opinion, because those $30,000 to $40,000 spreads are probably pretty hard to find. But again, if you're the player out there doing that all the time, let me buy you lunch at my favorite joint, Bongos. What's up to our friend Matt Smith? Anybody who wants to have lunch with me on Bongos on a Friday, hit me up. Come see me on a Tuesday first, and then we can make our plans for a little Friday lunch at Bongos, my little hangout. But that's all I got today. Wrapping it up, guys. First 10 people that email me in the subject line, I'm in. Julie at SeattleInvestorsClub.com. We'll do a little private session with just us. We'll talk about and go over all this stuff in more detail. Might take a few hours, maybe 3, something like that. Maybe an afternoon session. We'll pick somewhere fun. If that sounds good to you, I'd love to hear from you guys. And if more than 10 people contact me, then maybe we'll do it more than once. But anyways, I'm always here for you guys. Joe and I got your back. Seattle Investors Club, SIC family, over and out for today. Joe, where can they find the details? First of all, where can they find the details again about our meetup on Saturday? That if you guys are all out there wanting to make money, I'm sure you'd be much inclined to figure out how you can keep it or grow it tax-free. This isn't something that is going to be probably done again for another year. It's going to be a deep dive workshop for $35 or free if you're an SIC member. Where can they get a deal like that? So hope to see you there. Joe, where can they find the info again about that?
Yeah, so they can go to seattleinvestorsclub.com/Jeff. That's seattleinvestorsclub.com/Jeff, and that will get you to our meetup page where you can RSVP and get all the info.
Awesome. Or they can just go to meetup.com and search Seattle Investors Club.
Yep, that will also work. You can probably
Excellent.
search Jeff Watson as well.
Okay. We are super excited, as you can tell, to have Jeff Watson come to town. I know a lot of you know who he is already. So come meet him in person, grab a sandwich on us. And then the details for today, Joe, what podcast number is this?
All of the show notes are at seattleinvestorsclub.com/68.
Right on. Thank God. All right. I was thinking something dirty in my head. I won't mention it, but you guys figure that out next week. Anyways. All right. Thanks, guys. Over and out. Joe, I'll see you in a few days. Safe travels, my buddy.
Yeah. We'll talk to you soon.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening to the Seattle Investors Club podcast. If you have questions that you'd like to have answered on the show, shoot us an email at info@seattleinvestorsclub.com. Now go out, take that action, and build that real estate business. Thanks for listening.